Ladies and gentlemen, the only person who has had the potential to win, almost come closer to winning an election without the Mount Kenya region is Raila Odinga. And Raila Odinga has done this by uniting the rest of the nation against the Mount Kenya region and the region that they side with. And we saw this from the 2022 general election, where the Mount Kenya region sided with the Rift Valley region. And even if Raila Odinga got a little support from the Mount Kenya region, he still lost that election. In this analysis, I want to look into why it's very difficult to beat the Mount Kenya region ahead of the 2027 general election, and in terms of their character traits and in terms of numbers and strategy. And without further ado, let's get into it. But if you're watching for the first time, always remember to subscribe, like this video, and you can also drop a comment in the comment section. The reason number one is that the people of the Mount Kenya region are very difficult to convince. If they decide that they are voting in a certain direction, it's very difficult to convince them. Before even going to the numbers, these are the traits, very difficult to change their mind. And a good example is what happened in 2022 general election. Remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2022 general election was supporting Raila Odinga. But the people of the Mount Kenya region insisted that they were going to support President Ruto. And at the long last, they gave President Ruto 50% of the votes he got in that election, which was about 3.5 million votes. So these are people that when they decide that they are voting for candidate a good percentage of them will vote in that direction. This is the first trait of the Mount Kenya region. The second trait, before we look in the numbers, is the people of the Mount Kenya region have a good voter turnout. I don't think there is a region in the Republic that can turn out to vote like the people of the Mount Kenya region. Remember that in 2013, these are people who went to an extent of getting even patients from hospitals. If you remember that the time when Uhuru Kenyatta was coming into power, their turnout was extremely high. You cannot compare them with the people of the Luo region. You cannot compare them with the people of the Western region. Their voter turnout is very high, and they think they're the best in the Republic. So when the voter turnout is very high, almost the number of valid votes from that region will also be very high. Now let's look into the numbers, and this is what's giving the current regime headache. Numbers that the Mount Kenya region have. And this is where now President Ruto and Raila Odinga are getting difficult or in terms of strategy and in terms of what they're going to do to win the 2027 general election because of the Mount Kenya factor. And I want to give you the numbers from just a rough estimate of what's happening in the Mount Kenya region. In the 2022 general election, and this one is in general agreement that the people of the Mount Kenya region gave President Ruto 50% of the votes he got, and President Ruto had garnered 7 million votes. So 50% of that is about 3.5 million votes. Nobody questions about this. And Raila Odinga from the same region got about 800 something votes, 1,000 votes from the same region, which is almost, if I can round it, to a million votes. So the votes that President Ruto got and the votes that Raila Odinga got from the Mount Kenya region is 4.5 million votes. Now, that aside, the 4.5 million votes aside, remember that there are a lot of people, a lot of the Mount Kenya community that is in the other parts of the country, including Nairobi, coastal regions, they are in even western regions. The votes outside the Mount Kenya region can be an estimation of about a million votes. The Kikuyus in Nairobi, the Kikuyus in Coast, the Kikuyus in Western, Kikuyus are spread everywhere, and the people of the Meru and Embu are spread everywhere. So if you had a million votes from the diaspora Kenya parts, they come up to 5.5 million votes. And with an increase in people registering to vote, their estimated vote in 2027 is about 6 million votes. And if you have been listening to Moses Kuria the other day, he was confirming absolutely that is going to be the case. So 6 million votes from a region. Now this is where the headache is. One region is going to have a 6 million voter turnout. And remember that in this case, we are talking about valid votes, those ones that are going to be cast. The 2022 general election pulled a valid vote over 14 million because Raila Odinga almost was 6.9, President Ruto was 7 point about 1 there. So that was about 14 million valid votes that were cast. The same in the 2027 general election, if that votes, for example, in as an increase of 4 million votes to 18 million, up from 14 million to an 18 million valid votes for a presidency, the total valid votes for all presidents, that one that will be cast. If it goes to 18 million, then to get 50 plus 1%, you only need 9 million plus 1 vote. This is now where the difficult or the current regime is having an headache. And this way, what is even this where you saw that there were allegations to try and sideline the Mount Kenya region, the entire of the nation, the entire of the country against the Mount Kenya region because of this valid vote factor. If you only need 6 million votes, 9 million votes, as I've said, to get the 50 plus 1, in case the votes, the 2027 vote pulls up from 14 million to 18 million, that's a 4 million vote up. Then the Mount Kenya region community only needs 3 million votes. If they only need 3 million votes, then they already have 6 million votes. They only need to get a region that will give them 3 million votes, or approximately closer to 3 million votes. And as we're speaking today, they have already united with the eastern part. Now the Gema community has come together. The eastern part that has not been voting for them for very long because they have been supporting Raila Odinga, where Kalonzo has been the running mate of Raila Odinga. If they are going to unite with the eastern vote, now you are going to add about 2 million votes because the Kambas are almost known to have 2 million votes across the nation. These people are going to go to an 8 million vote. Do you think it's going to be very difficult for them to get 1 million votes from the rest of the country? And especially with the current status quo of the dynamics of politics in the republic. They are going to get votes from Western, a little bit of the votes. They are going to get votes from the coastal region. They are going to get votes by other communities in Nairobi. It won't be very difficult for them to get 1 million votes. So getting to 9 million votes is not going to be difficult. And this is the case that is troubling the current president, the current administration in trying to win the 2027 presidency. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ask yourself, even if the people of the Mount Kenya region do not vote in the same direction, even if they divide the votes, at the end of the day, that vote doesn't go to the current regime. Even if there will be 2 candidates and they support them, at the end of the day, this vote doesn't go to the current regime. And in this scenario, it only means that that election can go to a runoff. Because at the end of the day, you don't have this vote on your side. Even if you divide the vote, at the end of the day, if you fail to get the 50 plus 1, then you'll have to go to a re-election or a second round of voting. And that's why it's going to be a highly contested election. The 6 million votes of the Mount Kenya region that I've shown you how they come up to 6 million. If you are going to have the Kalonzo vote in the same side, you are going to go to 8 million votes. Assuming that that's an assumption that President Ruto, President Ruto doesn't get, let's say President Ruto gets 1 million votes from the Mount Kenya region. They come down to 7 million votes. But at the same case, remember that there will be votes that the same region will be getting from even the Rift Valley region. They'll be getting from the Ma community. So this one cuts the votes that President Ruto will get in the Mount Kenya region. That's why I'm putting the fully vote behind the people. The person will be benefiting from the 6 million votes. At this time, you can tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll take my time to read and give you a response about the 6 million votes. And in case they're going to add the Eastern vote to put the complete Gema vote together, that's about 8 million votes. Do you think it's going to be an easy race in 2027? I'll take my time to read and give you a response. And in case you're watching for the first time, you remember to subscribe, like this video. And if police what you like this channel, where it should be. Thank you very much for always supporting this channel. Have a nice day and stay safe whenever you are.